Hi, everyone. This is Tom Salemi. Welcome to the future of MedTech opportunities. I'm talking with, I think, one of the folks who's going to be shaping that future directly, Dr. Steve Mickelsen. He's Chief Technology Officer and founder of Field Medical, of course, founder of FARAPulse as well. And we've talked about, I think, PFA a great deal, but now we're talking about the ventricular side of the heart. And I hope I just said that correctly, because as it came out, it didn't sound right. But you're at Field Medical. You're directing, I think, some of the lessons you learned from FARAPulse to the ventricular side of the heart. What is particularly tricky or sort of undiscovered about that side of the heart?
Well, so the atria is relatively thin, and the big transformation that just happened is treating an arrhythmia called atrial fibrillation. And in order to do that, you create these therapeutic scars that are full thickness in order to kind of shape the way the electricity moves in the heart. And it's been very successful. The atria doesn't move very much, and it's relatively smooth compared to the ventricle, which every time the heart contracts is moving a whole lot, centimeters. And so getting stability there is hard. The ventricle is very complex internal geometry. It's not smooth. It has these things called trabeculation. And so it's got complex shapes inside. And so it's really hard to, again, get stability or get to the right spot. And most importantly, the ventricle is really thick. And so to get a full thickness ablation when it's needed, that depth, almost no technology does it. And so, if
you're diagnosed with something on the ventricular side of your heart, I'm sorry, but we really can't do much to help you.
Yeah.
That's the
so open heart surgery used to be the drugs.
Yeah.
A couple of trials just came out that showed that drugs don't work very well. We kind of knew that.
Yeah.
But most people get is an ICD, an implantable cardioverter defibrillator that has wires. It can sense when you go into a deadly arrhythmia in the ventricle and shock you out, but it doesn't prevent it from happening.
Okay.
And so catheter ablation has been done in the ventricle, but using tools that were really designed for the atria. And so these procedures take 4 hours or longer, and success is good, much better than drugs, but it's a complex procedure, and generally people who get ablation have to go to referral centers where people are willing to take the time. It's very much like AFib ablation was a decade ago.
Okay.
So I saw that as the frontier, and Field Medical has been focused there. And 3 years after founding the company, we finally got our first publication showing the how well a built-for-purpose technology can work in that environment.
So we're talking about this at DeviceTalks West, or mid-October. You just announced the results, I think, Friday.
Yes.
Last week. Talk a bit about the results. What did they show? Why you guys were really, really psyched about it?
Very exciting. Well, first of all, this is, there's a lot of people working in the atria now with pulse field, but this is the first real publication of a prospective trial of a technology in the ventricle. So it was picked up by Circulation, Vivek Reddy, and all the physicians who were involved in that are very proud that we were able to show a 98% reduction in VT burden. So if you have an ICD, prior to getting the ablation, we would count how many times you're having these deadly arrhythmias and getting therapy. And then after the ablation, how many arrhythmias we were having. And it was a dramatic drop.
That's huge.
Number two, just freedom from any VT altogether was an 82% success rate, which is dramatic, and it's very good to see. Small sample, very exciting results, 6-month results. So all the caveats need to be there. But, this is really one of the most important studies, I think, showing the next step forward where we can really reduce the period of time that it takes to do a VT ablation from 4 hours, maybe to an hour, and turn it into a safer procedure for people who are otherwise very sick.
And does it also enable interventionalists who were previously able to do that procedure to be able to do that procedure? Is it less tricky, less
Well, the energy, there's 3 steps what a EP doctor does. They diagnose, figure out where the problem is, where the circuit is, or where it's coming from. So they map it, they diagnose it. Then they localize it and navigate to it with technology. Minimally invasively, we do catheters. We put the catheter next to the problem, and then we deliver energy. And in the past, the delivery of energy has been super problematic, just not effective. And so you spend a lot of time in the chamber trying to get effective energy delivery. And now that I think we have successfully found a way to take that step and really compress it. And so, yes, I see a future where we can have where general electrophysiologists who currently know how to use focal catheters, which is all of them, will start routinely offering VT ablation.
And you were saying prior to our recording that with Farapulse, I feel like it took you had a head start. You had a lot of a lot of companies followed behind, and now we have a lot of offerings of PFA. Sounds like on the ventricular side, the competition, quote unquote, is lining up more quickly. Others are showing interest in the space.
Yeah.
Who is that, and do you see that as a positive? I would have to think it's positive.
As a doctor, it's an incredible positive.
Yeah.
Like this means that we're not the only people trying to solve this problem.
Yeah.
As a businessman, it's other than the frustration of like this was my blue ocean, and now people are like they jumped in the pool.
That's right. Got all these fish.
Other than that, like the reality is it also it supports the business proposition, which is there is value. That is a growth opportunity in the ventricle, and we are all going after it. And so it's not a small market. It's half the size of AFib, but it's a very significant market with growth opportunity. And so I think we're not alone anymore. We got Medtronic coming after us. We got Boston doing trials in the ventricle now, and we got Abbott doing trials in the ventricle. Maybe Johnson & Johnson, but because I know a little bit about some of the tools they're playing with. None of them are as good as ours, obviously. None of them.
Fantastic. Well, it sounds like a bright future for medical.
Yeah.
MedTech.
Thanks, Tom.
Thanks so much.
All right.